What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm DS. I'm here with my guy, Dino. Bam Bam.
DS, how you feeling, fam?
I'm feeling all right, man. I'm feeling all right. UFC 308 just ended like 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago, whatever. Not the best. Not the best if you're a fan of Bobby Knuckles, if you're a fan of Max Holloway. But all respect to their opponents. But what we're here to do, we're going to go through the entire card real quick and just kind of recap the fights start to finish. We'll start with the first fight of the night. We'll end with the co-main and the main event. Anything you want to add before we jump right into it?
Yeah, just a real quick, if you guys enjoy the content, please do us a favor. Do like the thing at the bottom says and hit that like and subscribe button. Yeah, DS, overall a pretty good card, but sad ending. But we can get into the first fight if you don't mind.
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it. And of course, the first fight of the night was also the sketchiest fight of the night, and that's Rinat Fakhretdinov taking on Carlos Leal. We both, I believe, picked Rinat Fakhretdinov here, right?
Yeah, both by decision.
Both by decision, and he did end up winning the fight, though it was a little bit dubious, if you will, right?
That's a word.
Yeah, tell me more. What did you see in this fight?
Yeah, so real quick, just to toot my own horn, 12-1 on this card, by the way. This is why you come to the 10. That's why you come to the 10-7 MMA for those kind of quality fucking picks. But anyways, yeah, first round, Dino, there wasn't, too much in it. A few takedowns for Rinat Fakhretdinov. Wasn't able to do really any damage. Leal takes the round for me. Great leg kicks, nice combos. He seemed to rock Rinat late in the round. He got up quickly every time he was taken down. I think it was a pretty clear 10-9 for Leal. Second round comes around, and it's kind of the same thing, right? Carlos Leal doubles him up on strikes, or so it seemed. At least it was like double. Leg kick is really starting to show some damage on Rinat Fakhretdinov. He eats a nasty leg kick that looks like it really hurts him towards the end of the round. And then as that lands, he gets a takedown with 10 seconds left, does nothing with it. Another 10-9 round for Leal, in my opinion. And then in the third round, Leal once again outstrikes him, stuffs all the takedowns, even lands a takedown of his own. And I'm sitting there thinking 30-27 Leal, maybe 29-28. But I know we're in Abu Dhabi. You know what that means, right, DS?
Yeah, we touched on that quite a bit. In the breakdown video that we did. And it's an unfortunate theme that we see in Abu Dhabi, especially. I mean, really, all these themed cards that, even in France and places like that when they travel, but especially in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal over there. One judge having it 30-27 for Rinat Fakhretdinov was probably the most egregious scorecard I've seen in a long time. All of the announcers, DC, Felder, John Anik, all were like absolutely fucking just scratching their heads, just fucking wondering like how the fuck that went down. But anyways, Abu Dhabi is going to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there to say? It was a massive robbery there. Rinat Fakhretdinov scooting by in his last couple fights.
The only I saw a meme that was like Rinat Fakhretdinov, the first fighter in UFC history to be 3-0 with 3 robberies in his last 3 fights.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
So, give me 1 second. Let's jump into the next fight. And that's of course Bruno Silva, and he took on Ismael Nardev. You go for it. I'll be right back.
Okay, then I'm gonna big screen me while you come back. All right, guys. Bruno Silva versus Ismael Nardev. First round is Ismael Nardev starts landing some really good leg kicks. Bruno Silva's leg clearly hurts. He clinched up against the cage for about a minute or so. Silva seemed really damn slow in this fight for me. He landed a takedown, got landed towards the end of the round. Back gets taken, 10-9, clear Nardev round. The second round, Nardev again outstrikes Bruno, who seems more slow and more labored than he did in the first round. He landed a couple takedowns, took the back a few times. Another clear 10-9 for Nardev. And then in the third round, it was just more of the same, 10-9 Nardev. It was just a very clear situation, of a guy that is on his way out in Bruno Silva. He's not the same guy that we saw fight Alex Pereira. He was just a step behind the entire time. In the striking, he looked slow. And in the grappling, he was no match for Ismael Nardev. So 30-27. I was like, man, maybe we'll get a robbery. And then you look at dude's name, and then you're like, nah, probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have a lot to add there, honestly. Pretty straightforward win there. I just want to say, very interesting how quickly Bruno Silva's fallen off. He barely had a peak, and then he's just done. So
it looks overnight.
Yeah, very weird. Very weird. But anyway, let's move on. The next fight of the night was Farid Basharat. He was a massive favorite versus Victor Hugo. I think we both touched on how the odds were maybe a little bit aggressive here. But what did you see in this one?
Yeah, so first round started well. Some nice exchanges. A filthy spinning elbow landed by Hugo like halfway through the round. He rolled for a couple leg locks in that first round. One of them looked really damn deep. Basharat survives, gets out on top. Towards the end of the round, Hugo rolls for it again. Close round, but I think on the feet, Basharat out-volumed him, and I don't know if those submissions were, too deep in. So I went with 10-9 Basharat for the first. What about you?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say the first three fights, we both got the method and the fights correctly so far.
Yeah, I was tripping off that. I think I hit the first four because I got. Anyways, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. Round two, a very close round, like the closest round of the fight. Super close on the feet. They seem to be going tit for tat, but we're in Abu Dhabi, so Basharat's going to win the round. That 10-9. Not that he didn't. It was just one of those like really close on the feet rounds. Not too much happened. In the third, a clear. I was going to say Fabio Basharat. I don't even know who the fuck that is, but a clear Farid Basharat round in the third. He was throwing big. Hugo was throwing big. He caught Basharat a couple times, but the grappling of Basharat and some solid striking mixed in there. 10-9 Basharat, 30-27 for me. The judges had it 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. So pretty much
I had Victor Hugo winning the third round.
And that's fine. So you had it 29-28?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the judges, I guess two of them saw it your way. One of them saw it my way. Either way, it was a clear Basharat win. That was on your parlay, by the way. And
yes.
That smacked, so that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, wait, did the parlay smack?
No, you missed some stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Damn. Not much stuff. I think one stuff.
One stuff. All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Right.
All right. So yeah, I mean Victor Hugo made it closer than I expected it to be overall. Good for him. He looked pretty good despite the loss. Let's see what he does. All right, next fight that was on the card was Kennedy Nzechukwu. He took on Chris Barnett, and this one obviously had a bit of an unfortunate ending. But before all that, what did you think of the fight?
Yeah, man, Chris Barnett. First of all, I didn't know this whole story about his wife. Really sad stuff for Chris Barnett. So prayers go out to his family. But he came in and he kind of Ortega'd himself, right? In the Bruce Buffer introductions, Chris Barnett does a big ass jump and kind of fucks his leg up. And I wasn't sure if he did, but seemed to have bothered him a little bit. First round starts kind of like you'd expect. And then Kennedy starts looking pretty fast. Barnett throws some sort of wheel kick. And immediately it's clear that his plant leg is bothering him. He's coming off of a torn Achilles.
I think he tore his ACL on the jump, whatever the hell he did.
Yeah, he might have. My instinct was when I saw him do that jump, I was like, be careful, you know what I mean? But I didn't think anything had happened. And then on the wheel kick, me being a fat guy coming off of a torn Achilles, as I am, the first thought, right away, I was like, oh, fuck, his Achilles. Because right away, he, wiped his foot at one point. He did, if you're a basketball player, when you wipe the dust off your shoes. Yeah. He did, one of those, and I was like, that's weird. I know anytime you're doing some sort of weird-ass actions with your foot, Achilles was my first thought. Plus, he's coming off of a torn Achilles. And then, all of a sudden, it's just super fucking obvious that his leg is bothering him.
There's just no need to do that, man. I know he's hyped. I know, it's been 2 years, but dude, you're way too big to be doing all that.
Yeah, big time, man. And then, of course, Kennedy just kind of starts pouring it on him and, gets a TKO up against the cage. So there wasn't too much in this fight. And then Chris Barnett, as he drops, it wasn't like he dropped due to Kennedy knocking him out, with headshots or body shots or anything. Yes, he dropped him, but he just kind of gave up and started grabbing his knee. That shit blew out. You're a guy with knee injuries. I'm a guy with an Achilles injury, so we can definitely feel for Huggy.
Yeah, I feel like with that type of stomping motion, it could be Achilles. I just feel like it's more likely ACL.
Either way, man, legs are not fun to
Remember,
fight.
was it Justin Houston that tore his ACL like that?
I don't know. Was it?
I think so. When
That's a throwback.
He jumped and was like, ah.
After a sack, right?
Huh?
Like after a sack, right?
After a sack, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that.
And tore his shit and was out for the rest of the year. And it was like early in the season.
Sick.
So, yeah, it doesn't take much. Look at Edwin Diaz, right? Doesn't fucking take much. So,
yeah.
Anyway, not much of a fight. Unfortunate. I hope Chris Barnett heals up. But at this point, this is probably the end of the road, right?
Yeah, Dino, one more thing, man. Like, just to, we didn't get to see too much of Kennedy, but he looked fast at heavyweight, man. Like, he looked healthy. He looked fast. Again, it's Chris Barnett. You're fighting sort of like a novelty fighter. Not sort of. You're fighting a novelty fighter, but he looked fast. So, interested to see what Kennedy looks like, and I want to see if that chin can hold up at heavyweight.
Yeah, maybe it'll help. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next fight on the card was Abus Magomedov. He was taking on Bruno Ferreira. What did you think of this fight and how it went?
I'm a little surprised at how deep it went. I predicted Abus Magomedov to win this fight. I thought he would get a knockout in the second round, but he ended up getting a submission in the third. So I thought we'd get to the second. I thought there was no way in hell we get to the third. You said there might be with these guys looking sloppy. Again, both guys kind of gassed out, but that first round, Abus kept the range pretty well. He was picking at Bruno, who didn't really throw much at all. It looked like
first round, you're saying?
Yeah, it looked like to me that Bruno was trying to just like preserve his cardio, knowing that mine isn't phenomenal and his really slow. Sucks.
He looked like he was getting tired in the first round.
But he barely threw
deliberate, or it was deliberate maybe. But yeah, I don't know, he looked slow.
To me, Dino, I really thought it was deliberate because he didn't throw much at all. And I think it was just, okay, this guy's range is hard to find. He's taller. And again, I have cardio issues, and I know he has cardio issues. Let's just get into those deeper rounds and kind of see. That was my thought process. But it was a clear 10-9 Abus, or Abus, as you like to call him. Yeah. Round two, Bruno, man, he rocked Abus Magomedov twice badly.
He came out a lot more aggressive in the second round.
Yeah, and that's why I think it was game plan, right? Abus gets a takedown, Dino, both times while he's rocked, which we're going to get to in the main event. I don't know that Max had the opportunity to do that, but a lot of these Dagestani fighters, man, they grow up with wrestling, right? So it's instinctual to just shoot that takedown while you're rocked, and shit, you get some control time, you can come back and win that round. He spent some time on the back of Bruno Ferreira, but for me, clearly a Bruno round. Just with rocking him twice.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then obviously in the third round, this is also, by the way, the first time that Bruno Ferreira was even in the third round.
Yeah.
And I guess I was kind of right. They weren't as sloppy as I thought it'd be. It was a pretty good fight overall. But yeah, a little, even though I mentioned that I could see a third round because of the cardio issues for each guy, I still didn't really expect to see it. So that in itself was interesting. Magomedov showed some good movement in that third round too, and landed a nice counter left hook at one point. Both of them were throwing some heavy shots too, and then of course, things end up on the ground and we get the submission.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about that one?
Let's get Abus versus Michel Pereira in Denver and see what happens. That's all I'm trying to see right now.
Shit. It's gotta be like a 1-round fight, bro.
Fuck it. Let's see who dies,
Yep. All right. Let's move on. Next fight on the card was Debec, your boy, Debec oral by, and he was taking out Matias Rebetsky. This was you fucked his name up again, by the way.
Brother, whatever.
This was an insane fucking fight, dude. This was fucking nuts. These guys were absolutely swinging. Matias Rebetsky, man, he got the win. Decision victory for him. I think you predicted a decision victory for him, if I'm not mistaken. So, man, you crushed it, even on the methods in this entire fight card. I had oral by. And at one point, oral by almost won it at the end, dude. He almost finished him at the end. This was a fucking wild fight start to finish, right? It kind of started off a little bit slower as they're kind of feeling each other out. and then they just start absolutely swinging bombs. The fattest mouse you'll ever see under anybody's eye was under Mikdebek Oralbay's eye. That shit was nasty. I love how the doctor, though, his one eye is completely swollen shut. The doctor goes like this, and it's like, bro, he can still fucking see through the little hole with his other eye. He's like, how many fingers? Like, bro, come on. Fuck's sake. I feel like no matter what, like, again, Abu Dhabi kind of situation, they're there. Like, there's no way that they would have called the fight for this guy. But that's why I was very worried at the end. Well, first of all, Rebetsky bust Oralby open, like blood everywhere. It was like fucking what's his name? It was one of the bloodiest fights you'll see. Period.
Yep.
And
absolute bloodbath.
Bloodbath. And now they're both gushing. And Rebetsky at one point is landing some really good shots, and I'm like, okay, they might call this, and the ref literally is not even like, he's not even like stepping up to take a look at anything. He's literally just like taking a stroll around in the ring or in the cage. I'm sorry. And then towards the end, when Oralby was landing the shots on Rebetsky, and it just flipped, which was fucking insane, dude. I just want to say that. Yeah. Mikdebek Oralby, whatever you want to say about him, he's really good. Rebetsky's really good. This was one fucking hell of a fight. But holy shit, dude. The resilience to literally have half an eye open, basically. You're gushing blood. You just got your fucking face pounded in. You're exhausted. And then to still somehow start landing some shots on Rebetsky, never give up, get this guy down to the ground, and then start landing shots of your own. I thought for sure they were going to call it towards the end there. But thank God they didn't. Respect to both guys. It would have been shitty to see it end, on some bullshit like that. But that was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, DS, man. Round 3, I had it 1-1 going into the third. Round 3 is one of the best rounds that you'll ever see. Definitely a round of the year contender.
No question.
A fight of the year contender as well. That round was crazy, dude. The damage, the blood, the fucking determination on Mikdebek Oralby's side, the bounce back ability from Matias Rebecki, just being able to come back after a brutal ass whooping, go into another war and figure out a way to get a decision in enemy territory. Just a phenomenal fight, a phenomenal fucking third round.
Yeah, unreal. That was unbelievable. Really set the tone for the rest of the card. Yeah, dude, that was absolutely nuts. You hate to see either guy lose in a fight like that, but my goodness, kind of shocked they gave it to Rebetsky, personally. I'll be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go to the judges, like we've been saying, but it is what it is, man. That third round, I can see you giving it to Oralby. I think it was clear 1 was Rebecki, 2 was Oralby. It all mattered. That third round was what this fight hinged on. I get it though. Like Rebecki drops him brutally. Like it looked like the fight was about to be over. Like you said, the referee seemed not to have a care in the world about that. But then Oralby comes back, and the last minute and a half of the fight, maybe, like right around there, was like, holy shit, this could be stopped at any minute. Rebecki looked exhausted. He was beat up. He was pouring. It was fucking nuts, man. Nuts.
Wild. And just for the record, I mean, Matias Rebetsky, that's 2 fights in a row. I mean, he lost one. He won this one, obviously. But 2 wars, he's taken a lot of damage in the last 2 fights, man.
Yeah.
So rest up, and hopefully he heals up and he's all good. All right, moving on. Next fight on the card was Jeff Neal, and he took on RDA. And obviously another fight that ended early that due to injury probably looked like probably another knee injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's not really much to say here. Jeff Neal, in the short time that the fight went on, in the first round, he was landing some good shots. He looked like he was going to beat RDA's ass pretty much on the feet. Yeah. Who knows? RDA's tough as hell. But, that knee just gave out. And now at 40 years old, you think that's the end of the line for RDA? It probably has to be, right?
I mean, I think he'll fight again, just like
because you don't want to go out like that. Rehab for a year now, and then come back at 41?
I mean, you got to give that's when you do a guy, and if he's still around, but that's when you do like a RDA cowboy and just let them both fucking.
So one more fight type thing, just
right.
So he goes on his own terms.
Right. Exactly.
Sure.
One thing of note. I mean, RDA looked. I don't know if it was RDA. I mean, RDA looked slow as shit. Jeff Neal looked crisp, man. Jeff Neal looked quick in there. So
he looked quick, and the power was on display as it always is.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Neal's legit, man. He is legit. For what it's worth, he does. He needed this win. He had a couple losses in a row there to top-level opponents, as we've talked about on the breakdown video. But props to Jeff Neal. You hate to see it. Unfortunate. RDA is a legend. You don't want to see anybody go down like that, but especially an older fighter who now has to battle back up. But if anybody can do it, RDA can do it.
Like you said, rest up, King. We'll see what happens.
Exactly. All right. Next fight. And this is a wild one. It just ended quick as fuck. Ibo Aslan just absolutely putting a pummeling on Rafael Kirkera. I think I picked Rafael Kirkera on this one. And did you? I think you did too, right?
This was my only wrong
Your
pick.
only wrong one. And boy, were we wrong, because
that's fuck.
That's fuck, dude. He got absolutely pummeled just off the bat. I don't know that we learned much about either fighter, other than Ibo Aslan is very strong, and he's certainly better than Rafael Kirkera.
Well, we knew Ibo Aslan was strong. We've known that from the beginning. The only thing, I think Rafael threw one strike. I think he threw a leg kick the entire fight. I think he threw the one leg kick, got countered with a left, and that was the beginning of the end.
That's it.
I need to go back and rewatch it, because in my mind it was like a 10-second fight. But
yeah, I just saw 50 seconds, I was like, man, it didn't even feel like that. I literally felt like, boom, got rushed. He's against the cage, threw a leg kick, and then just that's it. It was over.
Yeah, clipped and TKO'd standing up against the cage. Not much to say. Yeah, we don't know much about Ibo Aslan. We know that he was yelling about Turkish power, and
that was pretty funny.
And to me, DS, here's my thought process. He's like, I'm coming for the whole division. It's like, hell yeah, you should feel that way after getting a 40-second knockout or whatever it ended up being. But like, man, we saw you against Anton Turkali. Like, yeah, you won, but like, let's chill out. This guy just came in from the Brazilian regional scene. There's a lot of question marks about him. Like, let's move up that ladder. But like, we still don't know. Like, I feel like going that far with the pleasure man is like, it doesn't look good in terms of like you doing much in the rankings.
I love the pleasure man. Yeah, no, for sure. And that's kind of what I meant when I said, when we started talking about this fight. Yeah, I mean, we knew he had a lot of power. We know he's jacked as fuck, but didn't really learn anything new. So, we'll see what happens with him. Not really quite sure where he fits in the division at this point, because
we just spent more time talking about this fight than the actual fight, like 6 times more.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on.
Absolutely nuts.
Next fight was, and this is now the main card, and it was the main card opener. Obviously, they're really trying to promote Shara Magomedov, and he was taking on Armen Petrosyan. What did you think about this fight?
Yeah, I think it was a good first round. Petrosyan came out pretty quick. He rocked Shara early on. He dominated like the first part of that round, and then the second part of that round was all Shara Bullet. It was like a tale of 2 rounds in one round, right? Yeah. So Petrosyan first, then Shara Bullet really in the second half of that round. Very, up in the air kind of round. Of course, you're going to lean Shara Bullet, again, being in the region, so to me, it didn't matter. I can get both sides of a 10-9.
Yeah. I just want to say, dude, like, I mean, I don't feel like we've talked shit about Shara Magomedov, right? But his fucking striking is really, really good, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good, Dino. His kick game is nasty. He seems to have some real power, and he's unorthodox as shit for a guy that size, right?
Bro, he fights unlike any other guy from that region. Like, yeah. The wrestling, the offensive, the defensive wrestling, the offensive wrestling is fine. The defensive wrestling, not great. But, fuck, man, the stand-up is really good. The kicks are lightning fast. The kicks are fucking lightning fast. The hands are fast. He really knows how to use his distance and watch his distance and close in when he needs to. The array of strikes that he throws, man, the striking is very, very impressive, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think he will get exposed by a very good wrestler at some point soon, but man, it's got to be somebody who's got some decent stand-up where they can at least put up somewhat of a fight on the feet too.
Yeah, to me, Dino, it was clear that, I mean, yeah, he landed a highlight reel knockout in the second, but it was clear that this is his level, right? Like, Armen Petrosyan's a good fighter, just outside the rankings kind of guy. It looked like they were kind of on the same level. There were times where he was outstriking Shara. There were times when Shara was outdoing him. So I think I think you're right. I think you're right.
Good. Like Sorry, go ahead.
The thing you've been saying, Dino, the whole time about Shara Bullet is soon. Like, we'll get to a point soon where you think he's going to be exposed. I think we actually learned about Shara Bullet today. Like, this is the level, and it's not a shame to be at this level. You can win fights against better people being at this level. But yeah, I think soon, if we get into those rankings, man, those guys are killers. So, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like against competition that I now think is going to be higher than him.
Yeah. I think they'll find a way. They'll give him a Brad Tavares. They'll give, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it'll be something like that. But
by the way, DS, you didn't talk about the finish. A double spinning back fist. He throws a spinning back fist that partially lands. Petrosian, kind of blocks it.
Here,
goes in for the counter and spins back and throws it that way. Absolutely fucking nuts. Highlight reel finish.
Landed fucking flush too, dude. Like,
yeah. And he wasn't out cold, but he dropped to like 4. Like, he was on all fours and kind of like, holy shit, and started covering up.
Plus 10,000 aura for the walk off.
Yeah,
I think it always looks cooler. So props to him for doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, great job, Sharp Putin. He looks great. I am curious to see who they match him up with next. All right, moving on. Next fight on the card was Lerone Murphy, and he took on Dan Ige. What did you think about this fight, brother?
A good fight, man. First round, Dan Ige started really fast. He had Lerone Murphy on the back foot. He was touching him up a little bit. Murphy lands an elbow that cuts Dan Ige open at some point earlier, like halfway through that round. Ige starts to look slowed down after that elbow. It was almost as if, like, whatever the fuck happened there, he didn't seem very hurt by it, but it just seemed like he was like, yo, like, this guy's got my respect now. Like, I can't just be all up in his face, right? That's kind of the vibe I got from that. Murphy, starts coming in. He's a little more confident. Dan Ige sits him down with a nasty left hand. And I thought the fight might have been over at that point. Dan Ige sits him down. He gets on top. Murphy gets on top after like a scramble. And then Ige, of course, reverses the position with the Kimura. And that's kind of where the round ends. Dan Ige's
Murphy did land that nice knee at the end of the round too, though.
Right. But Dan Ige, like, it was a clear Dan Ige round. I'm pretty certain you would agree, right? Okay. Dan Ige's boxing, Dino, is for the division. He's got so much power. I know we just saw Ilia Topuria's power in the main event, but he's got power that very few guys have at 145. Effortless power.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like he's throwing that hard, but he has a bunch of knockouts on his resume, and we've seen him put guys out cold in the first round, and it looked like he was really close to doing that to Lerone Murphy.
Yeah.
Unreal. Second round, Murphy just outpoints him the entire time. Gets a takedown, throws up a triangle armbar kind of thing that's not really too deep at the end. So that's his round. Third round, it comes down to this.
I just want to say that the second round there, just real quick, sorry to interrupt you, really showed the growth of Lerone Murphy, I thought. He was mixing it up, throwing up some submissions, using the wrestling, using the jab, right? So he was really using all of the entirety of his skill set, right?
Absolutely. And he's a guy, DS, that me and you have both been very high on in the past. It's just, again, that activity. So right now he's calling out Josh Emmett. Great. Let's do it. Let's see if you'll come out to Vegas to fight Josh Emmett. And hopefully Josh Emmett doesn't have to go out to London or wait till the Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi card next time. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you want to fight Josh Emmett. You're calling out a guy that's fought for an interim title. You go to him. So that's what I'd like to see out of Lerone Murphy. And then again, he wins that third round for me. Just he threw more. Tough round to score, but I just think the volume of Lerone Murphy wins him that round.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure.
Yes. So 29-28.
Yeah. Great fight overall. And then unfortunately we had a not so great fight in my opinion. And that was, of course, Ankalaev. He took on Alexander Rockit. It started pretty good, right? Initially, Ankalaev was willing to trade on the feet, and man, he looked pretty damn fast. Honestly, I knew he was pretty good on the feet, but I was kind of surprised that Rockit couldn't do much more, right? Like, he is somebody who's more specialized in the striking. He's been a kickboxer, right? I was surprised at how much Ankalaev was putting it on him. I would say he was getting the best of him on the feet, quite honestly. Would you agree?
Yeah, for the most part. I think Rockit started really well with the leg kicks and throwing a ton of head kicks early on. The thing is, Alexander Rockit, like, he didn't throw his hands much at all in this fight. That
No,
was the
and he
weird
does
thing.
that sometimes. Like he's too hesitant at times, and this was definitely one of those times.
But like, you weren't hesitant against Yuri Prohashka. You
Yeah.
weren't hesitant against Jan Blachowicz. And then it's like, I get it. Magomed Ankalaev's an awesome fighter. He's dangerous everywhere, but like, you're not scared of Yuri. You're not scared of Jan. This guy's hands scare you. It was just a
I know.
weird.
I think the threat of the takedown adds to that. You know what I mean?
Probably, but why throw legs then? Like, I don't know. Maybe just because you feel safe because you're at distance.
Could be. Yeah.
Anyways, tough first round to score for me, DS. I had it 10-9 Rockit. I get 10-9 Ankalaev because Rockit, again, we had this a lot on this card, started the first round really well. And then the latter half of the second round was an Ankalaev portion, let's call it, right?
Yep.
So tough round to score. I went 10-9 Rockit, but I get 10-9 Ankalaev.
Yeah, I had a 10-9 Ankalaev, but it was very, very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously towards the end of the fight, it ended up becoming very, very, very boring. You did point out to me when we were talking just now that it was actually Rockit that initiated the fence fighting, if you will, right? And leaning against the fence. And Ankalaev, he said, "Oh, fuck yeah, this is what you want to do? I love doing this shit. I will hold you against the fence, and I will throw knees to your legs and just kind of hold you here." And so the latter half of this fight was boring as fuck. But the first half was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, so round two was clear 10-9 Ankalaev for me. Just seemed to be pulling away in the striking. That's kind of when you saw a difference, in thinking that, yeah, he was the one outstriking Rockit. And then, like you said, in the third round, Rockit is the one that engages in the takedown attempt that ultimately gets them to the cage, which is pretty much where we spent the entire round. Dino, awful corner work by Team Rockit over there.
Oh my god, I'm glad you mentioned that, dude. That was that was awful because start of the third round, they're telling Rockit that he's up 2 rounds. I mean, at best he's up. It's even. So
at best.
And then my thing is, like, I understand building confidence in your fighter, but in such a close it just didn't make sense to me,
Yeah. And then he goes on to, maybe in his mind, he's like, okay, well, they're telling me I'm up 2-0. Let me go just wrestle and stay safe. I feel this guy's power. I don't want to get knocked out. So I'll hold him up against the cage, let him hold me up against the cage, drop this round, and I win. But that wasn't the case at all. It was 1-1 or 2-0 Ankalaev going into that third. And then it was 1-1 on all the judges' scorecards. So just a brutal coaching decision by those guys. Like, I'd be fucking furious if I was Rockit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he could have, he might have felt something one way or another, but yeah, I don't know why you would tell your fighter that in a close ass fight. I don't know. Wouldn't you want to err on the side of keep pushing, right?
Yeah, 100%. And then, anyways, just brutal coaching. He's got to find some fucking new coaches because that's brutal. And then he calls out Petan, this guy who has us blocked on Instagram at the107MMA, which y'all should follow. Calls out Petan, says, "Stop running away from me." Going to be a very interesting fight, clash of styles. I think Ankalaev was trying to show that I'm a striker in this fight because he's been saying, I'm going to stand with Alex. He's not going to stand with Alex. He's going to go shoot for fucking takedowns. But I think he was using this as like proof of, I'll be fun. And then Dino, even in the fights where he's fun, still finds a way to not get a fucking finish. Yeah. Magomed Ankalaev, dude. Yep. He's next for the title. He has to be.
Oh, they can't. He's inevitable now. So, can't wait for the world where Belal, Ankalaev, and Merab are all champions. Anyway, and let's move on now, obviously, to the co-main event. Not much to be said here. Hamza came out exactly like you said, charged towards Robert Whittaker, shot a very low, perfectly executed takedown. It went really low on the legs, got Rob down, tried to take the back. Kind of took the back. Rob did a decent job defending. Didn't really make any mistakes or anything like that. But, eventually Hamza just keeps working it. He finally starts throwing some shots against the cage as he's kind of riding Rob, and then throws in a choke basically, and awkwardly, I guess it goes across the jaw of Robert Whittaker. I've never seen someone tap faster. So, he claims he snapped his jaw or dislocated his jaw. When I talk to you, it doesn't seem like you really believe that necessarily, but
no, I mean, I'm sure he tapped to something, right? Like because he panic tapped, like he was obviously
it was a panic tap. I bet you it's got to be something with the jaw where like something just didn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Hamza said that he felt it crack, that he felt a crack, whatever the fuck that means. Robert Whittaker panic tabs Dino, but then he was fine. Like afterwards, he was talking. I'm sure his jaw hurt, but that's not even the point, right? The point of this is Khamzat Chimaev came out and he did to Robert Whittaker what he does to almost everybody. And Dino, it's like I was telling you while that fight was, like right after it ended through text, it's an inevitability with Khamzat Chimaev. He's going to come forward and take you down in that first round. I don't think there's a man in the UFC that's going to prevent him from taking them down immediately in that first round.
Yeah,
nobody has good enough takedown defense to not do that. He did it with Usman. He did it with Gilbert Burns. He's gonna take you down. The whole point.
Like,
what is it?
He's strong as shit, and he's strong. He's very skilled as a wrestler, and it's for me though. It's the explosion and aggression.
That's what it is, right? 100%. I agree with you. So he's going to come take you down. The whole point, like the whole ideology, or the whole game plan I would have coaching a fighter or being a fighter against Khamzat Chimaev is you're going to get taken the fuck down in the first round.
Survive.
Be safe. Yeah, just survive that first round. There's going to still be an onslaught in the second, but it's going to really slow down quickly. So survive that first round. Robert Whittaker was doing a phenomenal job, Diaz, at surviving, putting his hands in the right places, answering the phone, keeping, 2-on-1s on Khamzat's arms to prevent getting choked. Eventually, he got that locked in on his jaw and finished him. Not much to say. The shame in this is that we didn't get to learn anything about Khamzat Chimaev. What we really wanted, even if Hamza, like, obviously, I know you're a huge Robert Whittaker fan. I like Bobby Knuckles a lot. I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan, but I do like him a lot. Ideally, if Khamzat was going to win this fight, what I wanted to see as an MMA fan, as somebody who loves this sport, is let's get into that third, fourth, fifth round, and let's see what he looks like against an elite guy when he's not as fast and explosive as he was. Unfortunately, we got nothing answered. We got the same Khamzat Chimaev. It was like he fought Reese McKee. It was like he fought all those guys, Gerald Mearshart. Like, we didn't learn anything about Khamzat Chimaev in this fight, which is unfortunate. I will go on to say him and Dricus du Plessis may be one of the craziest stylistic fucking fights of all time. Just two super athletic fucking just aggression balls.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm down as shit to see that.
Do you think that's next?
Dude, it has to be. Like, I get that Khamzat was number 13, and he just beat he's got to be.
He'll be what, number 3 now? Probably.
Yeah, he's got to take number 3. He's next, dude. He's next.
Yeah, and might as well.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good, man. Let's go. Move on to the main event, which of course was Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway, and we know what happened in this one. First round, Max looked. It was all close, right? But I gave the first round to Max for sure. He was just the only damage that Ilia really did was with the leg kicks in the first round, in my opinion, and they were hurting Max. Don't get it twisted. I was screaming at the TV. You can't eat too many of those, right?
Yeah.
Max did a great job keeping distance, lateral movement, landing the jab, landing some nice uppercuts, some nice body kicks, even mixed in the front kick, which I really liked. Looked loose, looked good. Super, super close round, but I had the first round going to Max. You?
Yeah, as did I. I think just volume and kind of control of the octagon. Leg kick. Ilia was landing leg kicks. He was throwing some big shots. They were missing. This was the whole fight, Dino, was about volume as opposed to power, which Ilia Topuria threw a lot of fucking volume too, if you look at the numbers. But yeah, I mean, to me, it was Max with the volume. It looked like he was finding and controlling the distance and just doing what Max does against strikers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second round, also super close. Who did you have the second round going to Max, or did you have it going to Ilia?
Yeah, second round was stupidly close. I gave it to Max. Maybe I was biased. Max landed more on the numbers. Ilia Topuria seemed to land the harder shots. He landed 3 big punches in that round. They didn't like really hurt Max too much. I mean, like, but he landed the more powerful, significant strikes, but Max outpointed him by a good amount. So again, I gave it to Max, but it was a stupidly close round. I have no issue with 10-9 Topuria in the second.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're still watching this, we did just put out a video on the entire full main event breakdown. So I'm gonna just keep this quick. Third round obviously starts. They're still mixing it up. It looks very close. Ilia ends up landing a huge lunging straight. Never seen Max like that. He's fucking wobbling. His legs are spaghetti, and then just follows it up and hammer fists, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah,
And
first man to drop Max Holloway officially. First man to knock Max Holloway out. Do you know the guy throws hard as shit? And it was like we were talking about. You get him behind that black line, you get him towards that fence, and you're not in a good position. And he does a great job at steering the fight there. So kudos to Ilia Topuria. That shit hurt seeing Max go out like that. Next is Volk. They brought him into the cage, and my heart can't take another fucking Ilia Topuria knocking Volk the fuck out. I can't do it. I can't do it.
A second time, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. So
it would not be something I'd like to see, but you got to give it to him. He wants it, right? So, yeah. For what it's worth, Ilia gracious in his victory, but he is the future. He's the real deal.
Yeah.
Overall,
Turo.
Overall, pretty damn good card, I would say. Obviously we had the 2 unfortunate injuries, and the guys that I was rooting for lost, but this is the fight game. It's unforgiving, and it is what it is. But overall, I would say a very good card.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 2 injuries, 2 fan favorites going down, fucking brutal robbery, some weird scorecards, but I mean, it was fun. It was UFC at 9 a.m. That was cool, I guess. Now my Saturday's fucked, DS. It's 5:15 local time. I'm screwed. I have nothing going on anymore.
You're already sad and shit.
That's it. Yeah, my day's ruined.
Yep. Well, that's all we've got for you guys. Obviously, continue to tune in. We'll be back next week, breaking shit down, putting out more content, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed, do us a favor. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot to us. You can also go follow us on Instagram at V107MMA, where, Dino, over the last 3 days or so, we have a couple 100,000 views on our reels. We have a ton of comments of people talking shit about us. They're like, oh, Ilia won. What now, bitch? And it's like, bitch, we picked Ilia to win. So if you came to YouTube and you knew that, you know that we're fanboying out to Max Holloway. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.